What's up, guys? Welcome back to another podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about Borderlands 4, going over things that we want to see, going over features that we want to see added that they didn't have in 3. Just kind of go over basis of what the trailer looks like and what we anticipate and hope to come. And I'm joined by Tommy. I think about that for a second. Bass Down Low and DSwattic66. Let's jump into the chat and we'll get started. What's up, guys? I'm joined by Tommy. Is that how you're gonna say hello?
Oh, you getting?
Joined by Bass. Hello. And Diesel.
Hello.
So let's get started. So what are some of the things that you've noticed in 4 that, or not 4, sorry, 3, that you kind of want to see come, be made better in 4, or things you want to see come in 4?
So like one kind of like core thing about the whole series, from the first to the third one, it's got this really good comedy, and that's got to stay in there. Whoever they got doing, whatever writing crew they gotta keep them on board, because that's one of the things that really draws me back to the game. It's the characters are so good. Like just recently in the third one, Vaughn. That guy's hilarious. You know, he wants you to go.
Yes.
Like one of the quests he gives you is to get his Iberian red bands, his underwear. You know, that's funny. You know.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
One that Pace and I keep joking about is the buff movie buff. He kind of talks like that. The guy from The Room. Like, oh, it's not in there. Oh no. You know that guy. He's off the chain. So as long as they keep the humor, like I'll probably enjoy the game no matter what.
Yeah, because I'm saying you've played all 3 games so far. I've kind of played 1 and 2 a little bit, but been waiting for everybody, like Bass and Diesel, to get in there and play a little bit of it. Oh, well, Diesel, you don't have Pandora's Box.
No.
Okay, I know.
Honestly, part of it is I'm almost out of space on my Xbox.
Yeah.
Like I'm down to 11 gigs left.
That, jeez.
On a 1 terabyte Series X.
Come on, bro.
So
like,
I've kind of got
to.
I've got to prioritize games here. I've got Halo to finish first, so.
Yeah.
That's kind of the same for me. Like I have the games, but I just haven't got to them yet. But I was enjoying 3 so much and just grinding it out, doing everything past finishing the story.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that part for sure.
But definitely my number one thing I want to see improve in 4 is the intuitiveness, or I guess user friendliness of using your mini-map, or just making it aware on your screen when your teammate is down, or just names disappearing, which happens from time to time on 3. It'd be really good to just have a really good idea of when your teammate's down, where they're at, and it does not do a very good job of that. I will say that.
No, it
Yeah,
does
that
not.
is true.
That's one
There's been more than one time there's been more than one time I've died after getting downed in the slaughter rooms.
Oh, the Cistern of Slaughter?
Yeah, Cistern of Slaughter, and I can't think of the names of the other ones, but there's the other 2. There's like, I want to say the Shaft one, I can't think of the
Slaughter Shaft and Slaughter Star 3000.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are honestly fun, but I'm not complaining that the enemies are too strong, but it feels like the guns are too weak, you know? Right. As weird as that's going to sound, especially since we're all level 72 right now, it just somehow feels like the guns are too weak. I don't know if they just put the enemies on too much of a buff or what's going on there.
Yeah, I agree with that too, because like I got some pretty good weapons, and then when the other thing is like if you go and play those when you're not on Mayhem level 10, it's a completely different game. Like you're killing people like they're level
Yeah.
2s. But especially with your Mayhem level 10 weapons. But you're right, when you get to like the end of the tunnel, if you will, your highest level, you're playing on Mayhem level 10, it definitely doesn't feel like you're level 72 with the amount of damage that you're doing. But I mean, maybe that's how that's designed,
Yeah, very
Yeah.
well could be. I mean,
I mean, I don't mind a
You
challenge,
may
and
you start. You go ahead. You were speaking first.
I mean,
Jesus.
I don't mind a challenge in some games, but like speaking from a modding perspective with like SnowRunner, for example, some vehicles there, just like some of the guns in Borderlands that look, drawing the parallel to SnowRunner here, some of the weapons, some of the vehicles look pretty cool,
Oh
but
yeah.
they're absolutely horrible to use in game, basically bordering on useless. Because it's
Right.
like I'm trying to think. There was I can't think of which gun it was now. I was using Borderlands, but it looked really cool. But I pull it out to actually fight someone on a Mayhem level 10, and again, this is a Mayhem level 10 gun, and it's matched to my level 72, and it deals out like 13,000 damage or something like that. I may as well be shooting spitballs at this enemy. I stood there, emptied a full clip, and got rid of a sliver of the enemy's health. And it's like, why did I just grind this character out to 72 and work so hard on getting all these weapons, only for it to end like this?
Right.
Right.
And this is where I draw the parallel to SnowRunner is I don't mind a bit of a struggle. Say I'll have to it'll take 2 mags in Borderlands to kill this enemy, but that's to me a struggle because okay, I've got to dodge and run and jump, and he can still have the overpowered gun. That's not the issue. The issue is just like I've got to be able to do something to him other than be annoying. Whereas like I get hit with a small burst of that particular enemy's gun. I think it was like the Ninja or something, and I just get hit with a small burst and I'm basically dead immediately. But I do a full mag dump with my own gun, and I barely do a sliver of damage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get
this
that.
bugs me.
Yeah. I mean, the balancing of the weapons would be nice for sure. Something.
Balance. That's the word I was looking for.
I'm glad I could help you there. I think another thing that would be fantastic would be just having what am I trying to say? Oh crap! Help me out. Just having, well, the gun selection's phenomenal, but yeah, kind of going what you were saying, like, give us some damn good guns.
The game does have I mean, the Hellwalker. That thing melts life away
right now, yeah.
like ridiculous, and that one's even got the one I have will sometimes, very rarely, even though it doesn't say it on the description, automatically reload on criticals.
Right.
It's got the ricocheting on criticals, but sometimes it will reload on a critical. And I mean, I've used that thing to get me out of more awful situations than I can even count. So I don't know, like. I think that with the mayhem thing and feeling weak and all that stuff, quick fix is just turn it down. I think it's there to help people because I've played games like different games where you cut through all the enemies, you get through the game, but there's still like some things to do, and you feel like too powerful, and it's just that there's not the challenge isn't there anymore. It's like there's something missing.
Right.
But you bump that mayhem level up, and you're right back into it. You're doing the grind, which
Quite the
fun.
grind.
It is quite the grind. Yeah.
I think something else that would be nice is, I don't know, did we talk about like I think we already talked about it. The like fact that it doesn't notify us whenever players are down.
That's
Yeah,
very
that was
annoying.
one of the first things Base was bringing up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the thing it does, but it just doesn't do a good job.
No.
Like sometimes you'll get like a little flash off this, like, see, it needs like there's nothing in your minimap telling you it's happening. That would be just
Yeah.
a million times, because 98% of the time when one of us goes, "Hey, I'm down," our first question is where.
Yeah,
It
where
shouldn't
you
have
at?
to be that.
Yeah, no, we shouldn't
Yeah.
have to ask the question of where you're at. It should.
And even if it's like, if you're not looking directly in the person's direction,
Mm-hmm.
like so many games have like, you know, a little icon will flash like on whatever side of the screen you need to turn towards that they're at, like your teammate is at.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, I've seen some of the people that we play with do this, where they'll put the you could hit up on the D-pad and they'll put a marker there, but that's like I don't know, like I don't want to sound lazy or anything, but that shouldn't have to be the thing. It should just let you know, man down, you got to go help them out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it shouldn't
And
be up to
see,
them
that
because
kind
they're
of
fighting for their life. They're not worried about putting a marker on the ground in their general area. They're trying to get headshots and stand up on a crit or a kill. And it's just definitely something that needs to be added to make the game. I don't want to say better, but just like a light. I don't know, cohesive's not the good word either. It just needs to be added.
Yeah, and see that's another reason I brought up the guns doing more damage, is like to your point, we've had several of us go down to various enemies in whatever mayhem level we're doing, only to then say, okay, I'm down, and like you said, first question is where, and while speaking from experience here, I'm just mag dumping on the enemy, tickling him with whatever my
Right.
gun can do. You guys are racing around trying not to get swarmed by enemies while I'm just getting absolutely overwhelmed. You know, and this is the problem is I'm not saying that the gun has to be overpowered and wipe out the enemies in one tap. That's not the point. The point is,
Right.
you know, we have to have something that'll give us a fighting chance, which right now we don't have that fighting chance. And
Yeah, I agree with you on
and again,
that.
that's and that's the point too of the enemy. Like, all it would take would be a little icon, you know, a directional arrow with an exclamation point, and maybe our icon. You know,
Yeah.
just this
Right.
way, just this way. It's like, okay, this general direction. So then you're swinging the camera around, and by the time one of us is saying, "Hey, I'm down," you know, by the time you get to "I'm," someone's already there reviving you.
Yep.
You know,
I can
so
agree with that.
it doesn't need to be this great big banner flashing across the street saying, or across the screen saying, "Hey, Diesel's down. Hey, Chastain's down," or etc. down the list.
Yeah.
It literally just has to be enough to be like, okay,
This person's down.
on your left, somebody on your
Yeah.
left, Diesel's down. Gotta go and get him up, and I'm sitting there, and the enemies have to retreat because they're afraid of getting some damage from my gun, or I mag dump and get like, I don't know, half their health down, and they're staggered for a minute, giving me a chance to live long enough for anybody else to come and get me. You know, but instead they're standing there. It's kind of like a reverse, honestly, because the enemy is overpowered and we're not.
Yeah, well, there's also, especially like with, I mean, we've all experienced this because I know we've all kind of played the game by ourselves or with varying, you know, amounts of teammates and all that stuff. The game auto, the difficulty levels auto adjust depending on how many people are playing. So, bosses
Well,
that
and
you
how
might,
and what the level of the person is too.
well, yeah, for sure. But I mean, like, if we're all level 72s on Mayhem 10, and I myself go and fight boss A, I might be able to get through that boss fight just fine. However, if all four of us go into the fight with boss A, that boss fight is exponentially more difficult because it's trying to the game's automatically adjusting to the amount of people there to keep the fun up. But sometimes it isn't fun, like when you're fighting the bugs in the pit and he's spitting acid at you. It's dumb.
Well, and I feel like in Mayhem 10, the guns only go. I think they designed the game for the guns to only go so far, and you really have to start focusing on your build and how to use it the most efficiently. Because I don't think with the way knowing nothing about Borderlands, the way I built my character the first time, I don't think I would have stood a single chance at doing anything Mayhem 10 and doing any kind of damage worth anything. But I rebuilt it after, watching stuff online, and now I could just, in Mayhem 10, I can just shred a boss, like a full-on, one of the vault protectors, or whatever you want to call them. And I kind of have a harder time with ads, but I'm also not built for that. But I can manage.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So what are some things from the trailer that you notice that you hope comes to fore?
Well, this has been kind of, it's not unique necessarily, but there was some footage of in the trailer, the teaser trailer, whatever you want to call it, of dual guns.
Yeah.
And that was something you could get with the character in Borderlands 2. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. He's the Gunzerker character. He's like this little guy. He does the arena with Axton in 3. But I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Centorno, I think, or something like that. Anyway, but he's dual wielding. He can dual wield assault rifles in that after he gets a certain part. And that's kind of cool, because the game is meant to be a little silly. So the fact that I could jump into a fight with 2 Lucian's coils, which is if you're not familiar with the game, it's like a double Gatling gun. 2 of those, and you're like, what's that, like 16 barrels hot?
Yeah, something like that.
Or 32 barrels hot, just going into a fight and that's fun, and I enjoy that. So having some kind of perk tree to dual wield with one of the characters is something I noticed, and I'm excited for. And those graphics are smooth. They kept the style. There's a certain name for that style of the graphics. Sorry, I can't remember what it's called. I like it. It's like
it's not quite cartoonish, but it's
something that it starts with an S.
It's almost like an abstract cartoon style.
Yeah, it is. But the new graphics look smooth. And graphics was never
like a polished version.
Yes. Mm-hmm. You could definitely tell they're working with some better hardware. And honestly, if as I get older, graphics are less and less. I don't want to say important because I want good graphics. I want the game to look like there was some effort put into it. But I said this before. I'll say it again. I'd rather have good gameplay, better other things than top of the line realistic graphics.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I think something I noticed from the trailer that I hope comes. Well, real quick, jumping back, I'm looking at the what is it? The Dr. Zed's Meds little thing, and at the very bottom it shows heal now. And obviously you go around the map and you if you're down on health, it'll automatically pick it up. But it'd be nice to carry a couple of those on you, to where, and it gives you like a hotkey to be like, okay, you need health like now, and you're not near a chest or a loot thing. Heal up right then, versus having to wait to loot a box and maybe stumble upon that. That would be nice to be able to carry. Now jumping back to the trailer, something I noticed that I hope comes in Borderlands 4. They featured what Typhon de Leon had in 3, being a lasso, where you
Yeah.
can like lasso something and pull yourself closer to it, or grab an enemy and pull them closer to kill them or whatever.
Hmm.
That would be really cool to have in
It
4.
would. I can almost guarantee that that's just going to be for the Siren character. I don't think
Yeah,
that because it's like the lasso's made out of iridium, I think, and that kind of like that level of iridium bending, if you will.
yeah.
That's like a siren power. So,
Oh,
but it was
definitely.
cool. I liked the other thing. One thing I noticed that was gonna bring this up just now when you talk about the whip, but I don't think it's related. There's a scene in that where the guy seems or the guy the character is like cruising in the air and they're just raining death with like a rocket launcher type thing. So maybe that's a thing. Maybe like Torg's got some weapon that flies you,
Yeah,
in the air, and you just rain death. That would be cool. That's on brand with that game.
that would
But yeah,
be
not to get too far
very
away from
on
it. But
brand.
the whip would be nice.
Um, I don't know, just the trailers got me really excited, and to be honest with you, I wasn't gonna pick up this game. I was like, well, it's on sale. I'll get it and try it out. And boy, howdy, I freaking fell in love with the game. I
You're welcome. You're all
yeah.
welcome.
Thank you, Tommy.
Thank you, Tommy.
It's definitely one of those games that you go into it like not knowing what it's going to be about, then you start playing it and you're like, whoa, okay, this is not what I thought the game was going to be. This is
Right.
much better, and it kind of gets you excited and being like, man, I want more. I've beat the game. I want more.
Right.
And so I think I have high expectations for 4, but obviously there's other games coming out, but this is definitely one of the games I'm getting is going to be Borderlands 4.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's probably going to we'll probably have the main campaign finished in like a week of
Right.
playtime. But
Yeah.
obviously we're gonna have we had quite a few DLCs with 3, and I'm sure we're gonna have some really poppin' DLCs for 4. So
4. Yeah.
yeah, obviously they won't be out right away, but
Sure.
just the fact of getting some really fun gameplay and stuff like that, I think it's gonna be a great game. I feel like.
We, yeah, and that's like where I have to be hopeful. I just hope it's not one of those deals where they're like struggling to come up with content. I hope the story has a lot of feeling in it and just personalized, so you just aren't disconnected. Because, I mean, the story in 3 was good, but it was one of them things that kind of felt cliche, sort of, I guess.
Well, the other thing about the story in 3 is it felt like your character didn't necessarily need to be there. Like you were really inconsequential. Like there's nothing like hanging on, based on you. I mean, sure, there's like some missions where you gotta like save people on stuff, but um,
It was really like a classic hero sequence. Like your character
yeah.
comes and saves the day every time.
And the other part is like your character rarely, if at all, shows up in any of the cutscenes. So, spoiler alert, if you're at the false ending, in Borderlands 3, it just has 3 of the characters talking. Your character is there. They're doing all the dirty work, and they don't show up in that cutscene at all. And it just feels weird. It feels like there's something missing. Like, why? I've played a bunch of games that you're able to have your character in the cutscene with whatever custom thing you want. I mean, shit. There was a Metal Gear Solid 4. The cutscenes were not, and that game came out years ago. The cutscenes were not pre-rendered, and you had active camouflage that would like change depending on what terrain you were on. You could wiggle the controller during the cutscene, and the camouflage would instantly change. So we have the technology, we can do it. Just stick my character into cutscene.
Right. Well, and you know, with 3, I get that some of the cutscenes don't involve the character. And like, for instance, when you come out of some of the vaults, in 3, like it goes into this cutscene and whatever happens, and
Right.
to me, I get it in the fact of, okay, our character's not supposed to be in that moment right there, because then it should spark a boss fight type thing, another boss fight, versus, okay, this is leading up to a bigger boss fight, and
Right.
you know, to keep the story going. I get why they don't have us come out. Like, I can't remember which one it is, but it's where one of the main NPC leads dies. But
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, we're not there. We're not supposed to be there in that moment. It's basically showing, okay, we're looting the vault. We're going through the vault top stuff, and it happens in that, you know, time frame. But obviously, they want us to loot the vault, and then when we go to exit it, then that's when they show that cutscene, which I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, like, there's some stuff I'm like, okay, it makes sense to not show us in that specific, you know, era or time or whatever.
Well, and like when you walk out of the vault and like some of those scenes that happens, it's like you walk out and this is what you're watching happen.
Right.
But then the cutscene acts like you didn't just walk out to watch this. Like you're just not there. Like you're spectating.
Yeah.
Even though your character just walked out and came into this situation.
Right.
Like they don't incorporate your character at all, even though, you know, I get it doesn't have to be a fight, but you know, your character could take part in the cutscene and like somehow, you know, it would still play out the same, but your character would like try and help and they would do something to stop you.
Right.
Basically,
But like Tommy was saying, it's just like it completely annexes you out.
This feels like almost
Yeah.
like lazy, I don't know, writing. You know, I don't know. It's just
Yeah, I get that, but like I said, I mean, that cutscene's supposed to have been taking place during the time while we're in the vault. I think that what they should do is they should reverse it. So instead of you going to exit it once you enter that vault, then that cutscene starts showing that you're leaving that area, and
Sure,
then
even that would be better.
That cutscene, yeah, and I think that they should take that and go into it with 4. I mean,
Well, and how
I'm
you
sure
say
we
it
can
takes place in a different timeline. I would almost say more or less it doesn't give you a sense of time. Because you just walk out and then this happens. It's like, well, did that happen while you're in there? Did that happen? Like, did we come out to see this?
Yeah.
But I feel like if we came out and it was supposed to be happening right after we walked out, then our characters should be in there. But like you said, that could have just taken place, and it doesn't, you know, activate that timeline until we leave.
right. And I get like, you know, there's a lot of cutscenes that happen in that game where it is first person, and that's because something completely different. But when you have like cinematic shots of like it on the outside, like, you know, you just beat one of the big bosses of the game, you know, and the vault didn't open yet, and you know, you got like Tanis and you got Lilith and that young girl there, and you know, you're just gone. Like, it's a big arena. There's no place for you to hide behind, and your character's just not there. And it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of annoying.
And not to mention in those cutscenes for like Flack's sidekicks or beasts, they're just you can see their guns are superimposed and just floating in the air, and you can see them moving around within the cutscene.
So maybe Diesel could help with like the technical stuff, but that kind of seems like they consciously made it to where it would just pop your character out for that cutscene, and I just don't understand why they would do that.
So, gonna be honest, that is most likely a typo in the code somewhere that either allows, for example, the pets to be visible or makes the Flax invisible, or all of our characters. This is the thing: is I remember there's a few of us. Everybody in this chat right now plays as a Flack. but there's a few other guys in the group who play as other characters, and they're invisible. The only ones that are visible are the flax pets that are going around, and you see a literal floating weapon in midair where, say, for example, a robot or the what is it? It's a monkey is wandering around in the background, and you just see this floating gun with nothing attached to it. So you're left laughing at this when it's supposed to be a heavy cutscene, or it's like there's a monumental moment in the story, and your focus isn't on the plot. Your focus is on this hovering gun that's walking around seemingly of its own accord.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
Which I guess proves in the game like how intuitive it is and how important the guns are, which I imagine that's why it only shows a gun, because it shows it's being its own entity
Right.
from the beast, but you would think then our guns would be floating in there too, though. So I don't know. It's just I think, like Diesel said, I think that's just a little error within the coding, but it proves that we're there. It just makes us not visible.
Right.
Right. I agree. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else that any of y'all noticed from the trailer that you hope to see come?
I mean, I don't know. There's so much action and nothing really sticks out to me, I guess. But like I said, I feel like I need to play the other two in the series to really like nitpick anything out that I would be like, I really hope that's like a pivotal part in playing.
Right.
There's just so much action they're showing off in one little like minute or two trailer.
Yeah,
So
it's
at
just
not being a
overwhelming.
Borderlands like veteran, I guess I can't really pick anything out.
Right.
Well, I watched it a couple times, and I mean, really, there wasn't much to pick out. I think right at its core, the game, and like the mechanics and what it does, it's pretty basic. You know, it's get guns, kill things, get bigger guns, kill bigger things. And the reason that like it just never gets old for anyone when you play the game is because it's kind of like maybe I'm inappropriately using this, but like it's cartoony. It's a fun game, and it's kind of hard to put your thumb on exactly why it is the way it is. But
Right.
I think that it's like hyper action, all that stuff, and it's just a fun game. So as long as that kind of carries, and it has, the one was, I don't want to say it wasn't groundbreaking, but it was different. It was way different than anything that ever came out. The closest game I'd ever played to this, and only just based on the graphics, was this old game that came out on the PS2 called 13. It was a comic book game. The whole game looked like a comic book. It was awesome. When you shot the guns, it's like pow, 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 pow. Or when you shot a rocket launch, this big word shoosh would go across the screen.
Right.
But similar graphics to that. So that was unique. It was a game that was designed to be played with friends, which was fun, refreshing. It still is. It's very user friendly, which I like. So, anything that's going to make playing with friends easier, I'm excited for. I know I'm kind of like going off subject here a little bit because we're talking
Basically anything that
specifically
makes
about the trailer.
just quality of life and user friendly.
Yeah, exactly.
Well.
And you know what? Talk about DLCs. The DLCs for 3 are awesome, but there was DLCs that came out for 2 that had something that the DLCs for 3 did not have, and I'm kind of upset about. I'm not like pissed off about it. But I'm like, come on, man! Like you could have thrown it in there, and that was extra playable characters. So in 2, if you have all the DLC, you get your basic 4. You get your Siren, your Soldier, your big gun Zerker, and your sniper character. But you can also play as the Mechromancer, I think that's what they call her, Gage. She's in the Lovecraft DLC, and you can play as I can't remember his name, but he's a psycho character.
Yep.
And that's cool. That's unique. That's fun.
Yeah,
So,
I think
See,
you
that's
know,
been the other thing. That's actually Tommy touched on one of the other things I wanted to bring up, which is give us some way to customize the character. You know, taking GTA for an example, because I remember I saw this a while ago. Like someone was pointing out how in GTA you can customize a lot of the different features and aspects of your character, which something like that would be nice since it looks like we're not getting the flax exactly, and we're not getting the standard character set that we're all used to in Borderlands 3 back. So we're not going to have like flax, siren, and the other two options.
well, I'm
You're
sure we're
going
still
to
gonna
get
have like a
actual human
siren.
characters.
Like we're
yeah,
still
there's
gonna have
definitely going
like
to be
the
a
same
siren.
style. Like you're still gonna have a gunner. You're still gonna have like a beastmaster or something similar to that.
Well,
But they're gonna be different
the
character
Beastmaster was
names.
definitely. You're gonna have a big guy. You're gonna have a soldier. You're gonna have a siren, and then you're gonna have a sniper. That's the thing. So the first one, Brick, he's the big guy. You meet him in 3. When you go to something Gulch, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but uh, it's it's when you get Tiny Tina. You get that little town. So you meet Mordecai and you meet Brick, and those two guys are from the first game. Brick's the big guy. His thing was a berserker. He could like freak out and just punch things till they exploded. And Mordecai was the sniper character. And then you had Roland, who was a character that died in 2. He was your soldier character. And then you had Lilith was the siren. And then in the second one you had Zero. He was the sniper character. You had Axton. He was the soldier character. You had it's I can't remember her name. It's the young girl. It's the one that she looks
Maya.
up to. Maya. She's the siren, and then I think its name is like Santorno. I don't remember, but he's the Gunzerker. He's the berserker character. So he's like the quote unquote big guy, but he's short. He's little, and that tripped me out because I didn't know that. And when I chose him as a character to play when I was doing my run through with him, you actually lower to the ground the cameras, and it tripped me out the whole time I was playing the game. And then in 3 you have Flack. He's the big guy. Then you got uh sorry, Zane. He's the soldier. And then you got the siren. I can't remember her name. And then you got the lady who's the mech person. So they all kind of like go to the same thing. And when I was looking at the characters in that screenshot, there's like a huge dude. He's obviously the big guy. He's gonna be your Flack. He's gonna be your Brick. And then there was another more average sized guy. If I had to guess, he's gonna be the one that's more like sniper, maybe more of a stealthy melee type killer thing, closer to your Zero or your Mordecai. And then there's obviously there's the siren. She was in like this jacket type thing. And then on the far right, there's this chick with glasses, big hair, and she's probably gonna be the soldier.
So basically, you're getting at it's following a trend of it's gonna be this kind of the same 4 characters, but it's gonna be a variation to where it's still unique in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, they're following a template, but they're making very unique characters. That must be said.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Okay.
Well, I guess if there's nothing else, I mean, that y'all can think of for what you want or what you expect or stuff like that, we could end it there. If there's anything new, if there's any like other news that comes out, we can obviously record another episode. But I think we hit every point that we wanted to hit with this episode.
Yeah.
well, yeah, especially with our very limited look into the new one, of course.
Yeah,
Right.
that's always
And we
the
could
thing
maybe do a short update when they actually drop some more trailers and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with that being said, guys, we're gonna end it there. If there's anything that you noticed in the trailer or anything like that, leave it in the comments. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. And we'll see you in the next episode. Later.
Catch you later.
Later.
Later.